Hi, this is Carol Siri Johnson, and this is my first test of Camtasia Relay. I'm going to show you what you can do with it. I hope this turns out okay. You too can make several tests. The first thing that you have to do is log on to Camtasia Relay, download it, install it on your computer, and then when you're making this video, you have to be inside the NJIT network. So you have to have the NJIT Cisco client VPN turned on, which is something else you'll have to download. But it's easy. Once you get it downloaded, you can also use the library, so it's worthwhile. So turn the Cisco client on first so that you're inside the VPN. And then get your PowerPoint ready. You'll probably have done that ahead of time. And then if you want, and if you have a webcam, you can take some pictures of yourself like I'm taking now. You can show just about anything that's on your computer screen, I think. I don't know yet because I haven't seen the results of this. But so after you have your little introduction, if you want to have yourself in the introduction, you can do that. And then you can go straight into the PowerPoint by opening the PowerPoint. A quick way to go into PowerPoints that you can use on most computers and is especially useful at conferences is just to press F5. It will start it just like that. Now you can't see me anymore, which is wonderful. And by the way, you probably want to dress up for this. I did not today. I'm just out of the shower. I look lousy. But if for your final one, you probably want to look fairly nice if we can use the webcam. I just made this little presentation on what is engineering. You probably never even think about engineering because you're in an engineering school, so it's all around you. But in reality, engineering is actually a fairly recent thing. I'd say around 1850 is when it started. Prior to that, it was only a few people, very, very few people. After that, it began to grow. And I've given this little presentation about the history of engineering education at a couple conferences. I got started doing it because I was reading these books, which are the Transactions of the American Institute of Mining Engineers, and I was analyzing the contents of the books and the authors. And I found something interesting about the authors. And that's that the degree designations after their names were something I didn't recognize. There were quite a few that I didn't recognize. EM, AC, AM. No thank you. And FGS. I think that's a fellow of the Geological Society. Well, BS we know. But there's SB, there's quite a few in here. USN is, I think, U.S. Navy, Fellow of the Royal Society. But I didn't recognize these at first, and I didn't know what they were, so I started to do some research. And I found that of the people that I knew on these lists who did work at colleges, who were college professors, they very often did not list any initials after their names. Sometimes some of them would list like prof, but other than that, many of them who were professors, I knew from other resources, didn't list themselves as having degrees. Why is this? The reason was because at the professional associations were the ones who gave out the degree designations. And they started in 1852 with the American Society of Civil Engineers. And up until about the turn of the century, up until about 1905, they were the main institution that gave out any degree initials behind a name. They ended up having to fight with the colleges about this, and the colleges eventually won. But at this time, there weren't even that many engineering colleges, and that was the problem. In 1862, there were only 6 engineering colleges. 10 years later, 1872, there were 70. So you can see this is really when it started. The qualifications to have these initials like CE were very high. You had to be in the industry for 5 years as a superintendent And a college diploma, if you had one, was equal to 2 years of that service. These are some of the first engineering and science schools. As you can see, there's more on that initial 6 I said for 1860. But some of these are science schools, and these are all smaller programs within larger schools. Science had the same problem engineering had. Science really had to break down the doors of academia. Especially Harvard University at first, when Lawrence Scientific School became a part of it, the other teachers, the teachers of classical subjects like Greek and Latin, they thought that science should not be a part of what it was that the school taught. It too was a new subject. Prior to about 1850, there weren't people who were called scientists. They were called natural philosophers. So the word science didn't even evolve until around the middle of the 19th century. The early engineering colleges, and these are just for engineering, this is about the number, more or less. There were some small ones that failed, so the numbers are never exact. But you can see the number is going up very rapidly within these years. And these are some of the earliest colleges. West Point is the earliest, RPI, and of course then there's the most important in 1881. Okay, so at the end of any presentation you give, you have to have a works cited list if you've used any text from anywhere else or pictures from anywhere else. It doesn't have to be a main slide. You don't have to stay on it long. And then you can get out of the PowerPoint presentation altogether and go back to the video. And then somehow you'll find the Camtasia Relay. And I think this is stop. And then you press the stop button.